That's it. Good evening, everybody. Does the microphone work? We're away. Me and technology. Right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Audit Committee meeting this evening. There is no planned test of the fire alarm system during this meeting. If the alarm sounds, please exit the building quickly and safely. Do not use the lifts. Please leave the building by the main route. This will generally be the route you entered the building. If the main route is unavailable, please use the alternative exits located. One over the wing and two at the back. Once outside the building, please make your way to the old marketplace at the front of the town hall. This is the emergency assembly point. Do not re-enter the building until the committee clerk has given authorisation. In the event of a security incident, delegates should remain inside the secure area of the town hall unless unsafe or they are instructed to evacuate. If instructed to evacuate, we will be advised to disperse and move at least 400 metres away from the building or proceed to another specified BDC premise nearby. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council and will be uploaded to the Council's YouTube channel and website following the meeting. May I draw your attention to the notice in this room regarding recording and the use of social media. The Council permits audio and/or visual recording and photography at Council meetings. Proceedings of this meeting may also be reported via social media. If a member of the public or press wishes to do so, could they indicate now? Shake of the head. Thank you. Agenda item 1. Apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies received from Councillors Freeman, Griffin and Presley.
Thank you. Agenda item 2. Declarations of interest by members and officers. Any declarations of interest by members? Officers? Thank you. Agenda item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 4th of June of this year. They have been circulated. Is everybody happy that I sign them off as a true and accurate record of that meeting? Thank you. Outstanding minutes list is on page 11 to 12. There's nothing to add to this, is there, Michael? No. Any questions on the outstanding minutes? No. There are no key decisions at this meeting, so we'll move on to agenda item 5, and we will change the order of the agenda at this point and take 5F first. And I'd like to welcome Mark to this evening's meeting, who will take us through the external audit progress report found on pages 217 to 234. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you and good evening. The previous meeting you had the audit plan, which was only just over a month ago. So this progress report is only a minor update since that point. I would probably draw your attention to, it's page 226, I think, of the pack, which is a table on the timeline of further reporting of the backstop. What that shows is consistent with the audit plan that we intend to carry out a review of the balance sheet for 25-26. That will allow us to give sufficient and appropriate assurance over closing balances in 25-26. But because we won't have performed enough work on opening balances and income and expenditure account, the audit report would be disclaimed as it was in the previous years. That we can use that process and the outcome of that piece of work to support what we would call the rebuilding process, to bring us back to clean. So 2026 is a full and complete audit, and again full audits in all subsequent years to that. What that means, I suppose, would be in the context of local government reorganisation, which would take place from 28-29. It would mean that whilst the last year of Bassetlaw District Council has a set of qualified accounts, Those accounts are on prior year comparators, which means the new organisation takes on a clean bill of health, so to speak. That's our plan. We'll be carrying out the work later in the year, and at that point we'll give you a more meaningful and in-depth progress report. Happy to take questions, Chair.
Any questions? I've just got one. Obviously with the announcement today, is there likely to be any tweaking of the audit plan to fit in with the transfer of information, data and responsibilities to the Shadow Authority at the beginning of next year?
For this year's plan, it should have no impact. As we progress through the years and as local government reorganisation progresses, there will be more of a feature of it in the future plans, but it shouldn't alter the timetables.
Thank you. If there's no more questions, we'll move on from that agenda item. So thank you, Mark. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you wish to depart, then by all means do so. Thank you. So we'll revert to the agenda order. So we'll take agenda item 5A, the Audit and Governance Committee Annual Report 2025-26, pages 13 to 26, and Michael will take us through this report. Sorry, I've been up for about 14 hours today, so just going back to agenda item 5F, are we happy to accept the recommendations from that report? Thank you, duly accepted. Agenda item 5A, as per previously stated, Michael.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the annual report of the Audit and Governance Committee. So the report demonstrates a strong year of governance overall, assurance and continuous improvement across the Council. The report concludes that effective arrangements remain in place for governance, risk management, internal control and financial reporting, and this provides confidence that the Council continues to operate to high standards of accountability and transparency. So the committee met 7 times during the last financial year, and that included 2 extraordinary meetings, and that's to maintain oversight of a wide range of governance functions, and the attendance is highlighted on page 18 of your agenda. Through independent scrutiny and constructive challenge, the committee has continued to play a vital role in supporting effective decision-making and organisational resilience. One of the most notable achievements during 25-26 was the positive outcome of the Council's internal audit programme. So positive assurance opinions were achieved in just under 85% of the completed audits, which is a significant improvement from the previous year. And that's shown on page 21 and graphs on page 22. Furthermore, no high priority recommendations were reported, and that reflects the strength of the Council's internal controls, management arrangements and commitment to continuous improvement. The committee maintained close oversight of the Council's financial reporting and the preparation of the 24-25 Statement of Accounts. That's on page 19 of your agenda. Whilst a disclaimed audit opinion was issued, this reflected the ongoing national audit backlog and statutory backstop arrangements affecting councils across the country, rather than any specific weakness in Bassetlaw's financial governance or management. The Council met key statutory deadlines and continued to demonstrate sound financial management throughout the year. Significant progress was made in strengthening risk management and governance arrangements. That's shown on page 23 of your agenda. Quarter reviews of the risk register, improvements in risk reporting, and enhanced oversight of partnership governance have further strengthened the Council's assurance framework and its ability to respond to emerging challenges. Treasury management arrangements also remained robust, with the Council operating within all approved prudential indicators. The Committee's commitment to excellence is further evidenced by its annual self-assessment against SITF's best practice guidance, where it achieved a score of 90%, up from 78% in the previous year. This reflects a highly effective committee dedicated to continuous improvement and good governance. Overall, the report highlights a year of strong performance, effective oversight and tangible achievements, providing assurance that the Council remains well-governed, financially resilient and well prepared for the future opportunities and challenge. An action plan is provided on page 26, and there are 2 recommendations. Members are asked to note the production of the report and approve its referral to Council in September. And what I would suggest, Chair, is we add a further action, and that's to report back on the progress on the action report in 6 months. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you for that. Are we happy to... Sorry, Neil.
That's all right, Chair. It's not a question. I'd just like to congratulate officers and Councillor Troop and Councillor Presley for last year's work, and I think it needs recording, Chair, if that's okay.
I'm more than happy to record that in the minutes. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? We're happy to accept the recommendations and the added one that Michael's put forward tonight for the report back. And we're happy for the report to go forward to full council in September. I've just got one thing to add, and that is that the work of this committee, though, goes on outside of the regular meetings. And if anybody's got anything they wish to raise, then by all means do so. You will have my blessing to raise that directly with officers at any time. I will ensure that the agenda papers are published as soon as possible. If anybody's got any concern about the audit process, the accounts or anything else that this committee looks at, please do raise it. It's important we maintain standards as we look towards local government reorganisation, and that we hand over the work of this authority to the new authority in the best working manner that we can. Thank you. Move on then to agenda item 5B, the waivers and breaches of contract, contract procedure rules 2025 to 26, pages 27 to 34, and Michael's going to take us through this report as well.
Thank you, Chair. So this report provides a positive update on the Council's continued efforts to strengthen procurement governance, improve compliance and reduce reliance on contract procedure rule waivers. The report demonstrates that the actions implemented over the recent years are delivering tangible improvements in procurement, contract management and organisational awareness. One of the key achievements during the last 6 months to March 26 was a significant reduction in the number of waivers, and that's compared with the previous reporting period, and that's shown in paragraph 3.7. This improvement reflects better forward planning by services, earlier engagement with procurement support, and the introduction of stronger contract management arrangements. The reduction provides assurance that waivers are increasingly being used only where generally necessary and justifiably appropriate. The Council has continued to strengthen its governance framework through the introduction of procurement pipeline, improved oversight from finance and legal colleagues, and the progression of a comprehensive contract register. Together, these initiatives provide greater visibility of future procurement requirements, allowing earlier intervention, helping ensure compliant procurement processes are followed. During the period, there are 11 waivers were approved to maintain service continuity, where legitimate exceptions applied, and that's illustrated in chart 1 on page 30 of your agenda. Importantly, only one waiver exceeded a key decision threshold, and this related to maintaining the Council's financial system during a period of significant change associated with LGR. The waiver ensured continuity of critical financial services while avoiding unnecessary short-term expenditure, and that's shown in more detail in paragraph 3.13. There were 6 breaches of contract procedure rules. They were identified during the period. They're shown in paragraph 3.17. While these highlighted areas where compliance fell short of expectations, all cases were identified through existing governance mechanisms, investigated and subject to corrective action. Guidance has been provided to relevant officers, and further targeted procurement training is planned to reduce the likelihood of future recurrence. Overall, the report demonstrates a proactive approach to governance, transparency and continuous improvement. The downward trend in waiver usage, strengthened monitoring arrangements and commitment to learning from breaches provides confidence that procurement compliance and governance arrangements continue to improve, support value for money and robust stewardship of public resources. Members are asked to note and support the actions of the report and request a further report for the 6-month period to 30th September 2026. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments on the report? Is the committee happy to accept the report and the recommendations? Thank you. Agenda item 5C, the draft annual governance statement 2025 to 26, which you'll find on pages 35 to 54, and Karen is going to take us through this report.
Thank you, Chair. The annual governance statement provides an assessment of the effectiveness of the Council's governance framework, risk management arrangements and system of internal control during the financial year ended the 31st of March 2026. The review concludes that the Council continues to maintain appropriate governance arrangements and a robust framework of accountability, risk management and internal control. This assessment is informed by the Council's governance assurance process, management assurances, internal audit activity and external audit findings. The annual governance statement highlights the significant work undertaken during the 25-26 financial year to maintain and strengthen governance arrangements, and progress on this was reported in more detail to this committee at its June meeting. The review has not identified any significant governance failures. However, in line with the Council's commitment to continuous improvement, a number of governance priorities have been identified for 26-27. These include strengthening procurement governance and compliance with the Procurement Act, improving the implementation and monitoring of internal audit recommendations, further enhancing cyber resilience and network security, supporting preparations for local government reorganisation, and further developing management review processes associated with the statutory financial reporting. Action plans have been developed for each area, and progress will be monitored and reported through the Council's established governance framework. The recommendations are included at section 6 of the report, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions or comments on that report? Are we happy to accept the recommendations held within it? Thank you very much. Agenda item 5D, draft statement of accounts 2025-26, pages 55 to 200. Karen will take us through this, and this was circulated early, wasn't it? So gave members the opportunity to have a look at it before the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to present the Council's draft statement of accounts for 25-26. In line with statutory requirements, the draft accounts were certified by the Section 151 officer and published on the Council's website on the 30th of June 2026. The accounts demonstrate that Bassetlaw District Council remains financially stable and has delivered a positive financial outcome despite continued economic uncertainty, inflationary pressures and increasing service demand. Key highlights of the draft statement of accounts for 2025-26 include a general fund revenue underspend of just under 300,000, which has been transferred to reserves, an increase in usable reserves from 63 million to 71 million, enhancing the Council's resilience and capacity to manage future risks, an increase in the value of the Council's long-term assets from 444 million to 467 million. This is predominantly as a result of expenditure on fixed assets and the indexation of the Council's property assets. There's an increase in cash balances from 13 million to 21 million. And there's been a substantial reduction in the Council's net pension liability from 10 million to 2 million. The accounts also reflect continued delivery of the Council Plan and the Vision 2040 priorities. Overall, the draft statement of accounts demonstrates continued strong financial stewardship, sound governance and effective management of public resources. Recommendations are at section 6, Chair, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions? Are we happy to accept the recommendations? Thank you. So agenda item 5E, which is the outstanding internal audit recommendations as of June the 30th of this year, pages 201 to 216. Karen will take us through this report. This is in response to the report which we received at the last meeting, which detailed a number of outstanding actions. At the pre-agenda meeting, this number was identified, and I'd like to thank officers for being able to pull together at a relatively short notice this report and identify the issues and the way forward with it. So over to you, Karen.
Thank you, Chair. So this report provides members with an update on the implementation of agreed internal audit recommendations. Internal audit plays a key role in assessing the effectiveness of the Council's governance, risk management and internal control arrangements and supports continuous improvement across all Council services. The latest follow-up review undertaken by Internal Audit in February 2026 concluded that the Council had made poor progress in implementing agreed management actions. As a result, the draft annual governance statement that I've just presented identifies the implementation of internal audit recommendations as a governance risk requiring enhanced management oversight and monitoring. As of the 30th of June 2026, there were 85 outstanding audit recommendations, and this comprised of 49 overdue actions and 36 actions that remain within their agreed implementation dates that have been included for completeness. Importantly, there are no outstanding high priority recommendations. Of the overdue actions, 23 are assessed as medium priority and 26 as low priority. The overdue recommendations span a range of service areas and relate to strengthening policies, improving record keeping, enhancing monitoring arrangements and ensuring that agreed controls are fully embedded within day-to-day operations. Management acknowledges the importance of ensuring that audit recommendations are implemented promptly. To improve performance, outstanding audit actions will now be monitored quarterly by the corporate management team, with heads of service required to agree and oversee implementation plans for all outstanding recommendations. This enhanced monitoring framework is intended to ensure actions are delivered within agreed timescales and that identified risks are effectively mitigated. The recommendations are included at section 6, and I would like to suggest within the recommendations that a further progress report is presented to this committee in 6 months' time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that, Karen. Any questions or comments on that report? No, I think we should accept all the recommendations, and in particular that we get a report back in 6 months' time to see where we are. I know most of these will be covered through the internal audit process anyway in the follow-ups that we'll take from them, but I think it's important that this is a standalone report and it allows the committee to hone in on outstanding actions that have been around for some time. So is everybody happy to accept the recommendations? Thank you. So we'll move on to agenda item 6 and welcome Kerry to the meeting. Is it your first full meeting? Is this? It is, yes. Yeah, didn't think there was any grey hairs there yet. So the agenda item 6, a report of the Deputy Monitoring Officer, regulation and investigatory power, try saying that without your teeth in, at RIPA, review of RIPA powers and policy, pages 235 to 242, and over to Kerry to take us through this.
Thank you, Chair. Members, this report provides the committee the annual review of the Council's use of its powers under RIPA, together with a review of the Council's RIPA arrangements. Members will note that the Council rarely uses its RIPA powers, and in practice it primarily relies upon open and overt methods of investigation and evidence gathering. The report confirms there are no live or pending authorisation and that no directed surveillance or CHIS authorisations have been made since the previous annual report. The report also confirms that the Council's policy, training and governance arrangements remain in place to ensure compliance with the legislation and the protection of individual rights. Members, there is one recommendation within this report, in that you note the use made by the Council of its powers under RIPA, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on this report? Are we happy to accept the recommendation laid out within the report? Thank you. Agenda item section B, items for discussion in private, key decision, there are none. Agenda item 7, any other business which the Chair considers to be urgent, there isn't any. I'd like to thank officers and external individuals for coming to the meeting and members for your attendance, and I wish you a safe journey home and a cool evening hopefully. Thank you.